Hey guys, welcome to today's video. And if you can't tell by the creepy music in the background, today we're going to be talking about creepy conspiracies theories that happened with the government. So let's jump right into it. Number 1, Operation Northwoods. Codenamed Operation Northwoods, the plan, which had the written approval of the chairman and every member of the Joint Chiefs and Staff, called for innocent people to be shot on American streets, for boats carrying refugees fleeing Cuba to be sunk on the high seas, for a wave of violent terrorism to be launched in Washington, D.C., Miami, and elsewhere. People would be framed for bombing they did not commit. Planes would be hijacked. Using phony evidence, all of it would be blamed on Castro, thus giving Lemonizer and his cabal the excuse, as well as the public and international backing they needed to launch their war. So basically, the US wanted to go to war with Cuba, but they didn't have a reason. So they decided to perform acts of terrorism on themselves, but then go back and blame it on Cuba. So there was their reason for war. Jumping straight into number 2, we have Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was the United States Office of Strategic Service, OSS, program in which more than 1,500 German scientists, engineers, and technicians, many of whom were formerly registered members of the Nazi Party and some who had leadership roles in the Nazi Party, were recruited and brought to the United States for government employment from post-Nazi Germany after World War II. The primary purpose for Operation Paperclip was for the U.S. to gain a scientific and military advantage in the burgeoning Cold War and later space race between the U.S. and Soviet Union. By comparison, the Soviet Union were even more aggressive in recruiting Germans. During Operation, I don't know how to pronounce this word, so bear with me, Ostrovekim, that's definitely how it's pronounced, Ostrovekim, Soviet military unions forcibly, at gunpoint, recruited 2,000 plus German specialists to the Soviet Union during one night. Jumping to number 3, we have the Watergate scandal. The Watergate scandal was a major political scandal that occurred in the United States in the 1970s, following a break-in at the Democratic National Committee, DNC, headquarters at the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. In 1972, in President Richard Nixon's administration's attempted cover-up of its involvement when the conspiracy was discovered and investigated by the U.S. Congress, the Nixon administration's resistance to its probes led to the constitutional crisis. So basically, President Nixon decided to put microphones in the walls of the Watergate office in Washington, D.C., so he could listen in on the meetings and what they were saying. But he had got caught because during one of the break-ins that his people were doing to basically fix some of the microphones that were in the walls, they got caught, which furthermore led to President Nixon resigning before he could get impeached, and all his men ended up in prison. So that just proves, don't break in and tap into government things. Jumping into number 4, we have North Korea kidnapping. The abduction of Japanese citizens from Japan by agents of the North Korean government happened during a period of 6 years from 1977 to 1983. Although only 17 Japanese, 8 men and 9 women are officially recognized by the Japanese government as have been abducted, there may have been hundreds of victims. The North Korean government has officially admitted to abducting 13 Japanese citizens. But why would they need Japanese citizens? This was during the reign of This was during the reign of, hang on, let me look it up. I'll be right. The ruler at the time was I just found it. Hang on. Kim Jong-il, who before he succeeded his father as the country's leader. So, Kim Jong-il decided to kidnap Japanese people. God knows why. But we have one more. Jumping into number 5, we have Prohibition. Prohibition basically means it was basically a time period where the U.S. banned any sort of alcohol in their states. But people were illegally making it and drinking it, selling it, all sorts of shit. So the government decided to poison the alcohol so that when people illegally drink it, they would get poisoned, which ultimately led to thousands of deaths, including some people from the government. So the government decided to poison a lot of people. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you want to see more from me, click the subscribe button down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up so I know that you liked it. And maybe there will be more in the future. Who knows? But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a good day and bye.